I think Mr. Pompeo, who is not just a former Secretary of State, but he's also a former CIA chief, and in the interview that you are referring to, he talks about his long-term relationship with Ashraf Ghani, the former Afghan president. He said that he has been discussing these issues with him for quite some time, issues like talking to the Taliban, issues like the formation of an all-party Afghan government and things like that. And then he compares the situation in Afghanistan with the situation in Ukraine now. And then he says that, like the Ukrainian President Ashraf Ghani should have also stayed on, and he should have faced the Taliban, and he should have fought back. The thing is that the two situations are not comparable. I did not think that staying in Afghanistan would have helped Ashraf Ghani, or it would have weakened the Taliban, or Ashraf Ghani could have led a revival of nationalist forces in Afghanistan and could have pushed him back. That was not going to happen, mainly because Afghanistan and Ukraine are two very different countries. Afghanistan is a country of various tribal and ethnic groups. The loyalties of those groups matter. Whenever tribes change sides, the government topples. So it was, once it became clear that the Taliban had the upper hand, what happened in Afghanistan, that all tribal chiefs and all influential people, they started joining the Taliban. I mean, Mr. Pompeo actually is sort of coming from a very different background in the United States or in, say, in UK. What happens is if a party loses elections, even after the law stays in power until it completes its tenure, and then any government replaces the outgoing government. It doesn't happen like that in Afghanistan. This is something that was experienced before too, when President Najibullah was ruling over his country, and the United Nations arranged a peace deal with the then Mujahideen, some of whom later became the Taliban, and the then UN chief negotiator went to Kabul, came back, and in a press statement he said that Najibullah has agreed to step down and we will soon have a new all-party government in Kabul. And when he said that, I remember one of a very senior Pakistani journalist who probably was the most informed journalist on Afghanistan in Pakistan, Mr. Rahimullah Yusufzai. He, the late Rahimullah Yusufzai, may God bless him, he said that the UN chief negotiator has made a huge mistake. He has actually not only it will not only bring down the Afghan government, but he has also put Najibullah's life in danger. And this is how it unfolded. I mean, soon after this statement, it became clear that Najibullah is going, and when it became clear that he's going, all his allies started leaving, and he was left alone, and the Taliban came and they took over. And then you remember what happened. He had to take refuge inside the UN office, and then one day the Taliban hanged him. And I have no doubt that the same thing could have happened to Ashraf Ghani. So Ashraf Ghani did the right thing by leaving. The problem is that when you have foreign powers playing a role in internal politics, domestic politics of a country, those powers always tend to make mistakes. They bring people who soon become unpopular, as was the case with President Najibullah, or they bring people who had no roots in that country. Like Najibullah did have roots, and he did have support of some people till the very end, and now he's still actually, after his death, he has become more popular. But Ashraf Ghani had no roots in Afghanistan. He was a person from an ordinary family who came to the United States, studied, got a job with the World Bank Group, and became a senior official there. The Americans thought that they need someone like him who could manage the Afghan economy. So they brought him to Kabul, made him the president, and then they engineered the election. The elections were engineered. This is something that even Mr. Pompeo said in his talk at this institute in Chicago the other day. He said that those elections were engineered, and engineered elections that led to his victory. And the mistake that Ashraf Ghani made, and all such rulers do, is they started actually believing themselves that he really thought that he had the support of the Afghan people, which he never did. And therefore, he was a person who, had he stayed, even probably the security guard at the president's palace would have run away. He would have been left alone with his wife only, and both of them would have been killed. So I think there was no chance for Ashraf Ghani to do what President Zelensky is doing in Ukraine. I think Mr. Pompeo is wrong on this account.